Congressman, it's always good to have you with us. I want to ask you about the Egyptian elections, but I want to start with the U.S. assistance to Egypt.
Yes.
Some lawmakers on the Senate side stopped U.S. assistance, especially after the recent death penalty that the Egyptian government had on Muslim Brotherhood members. Do you think the U.S. assistance should continue to Egypt under these circumstances?
Yes, I think so. This has been an issue that's gone back and forth over a number of years, but I do believe we ought to continue to provide assistance to Egypt. We've had a long-standing relationship that's helped in security, and so I think it is important to continue. I'm not aware of any recommendations from our current administration on this issue yet, in light of recent things, but my position has been to continue with the assistance. I know I've spoken with the Egyptian ambassador in the past, back actually during the summer months on this, and it was my thinking then that we needed to continue. So we'll see what the recommendation of our State Department and the administration will be on this.
Are you concerned about those death penalties, and do you share the concerns that some senators have on this? And do you think the Egyptian government should establish any reforms?
Well, there should be reforms, and we are concerned about what's happened there with the death penalties, rule of law, and for quite a while now there have been concerns because Egypt has sort of been in a limbo with the several election cycles without substantive reforms, and it's still not clear what direction things are going to go. So we want to be, we here in the U.S. want to be in a position to help promote reforms in Egypt.
Going back a little bit to the U.S. assistance, why do you think there should be assistance to the Egyptians today?
Well, it really comes down to security at the end of the day, and we have had a long-standing relationship and with the Egyptian military, and in our considerations of the broader security environment. And so I think it's important that we continue that relationship, and much of the assistance has been a military-to-military type of assistance. So again, I think we'll see what our current administration recommends on this, and I'm sure there'll be further discussion. And this works through our Foreign Operations Subcommittee on the Appropriations Committee. And we'll be taking up those bills coming up in the next month or so.
So if the U.S. assistance bill comes to your desk, you will actually be voting for continuing the U.S. assistance?
Right. What we would have is a foreign operations bill, which covers a number of areas of assistance, including assistance to Egypt. That bill is subject to amendments, and so we have to see what the amendments look like, and then I'll be voting on amendments and on the final bill, depending on what it ends up looking like. So this is still a fluid situation. I'm sure we will be getting information from the State Department about this, and then I think we also have to see what happens in the immediate aftermath of the elections.
So are you saying that you support the administration position regarding U.S. assistance to Egypt?
Well, I have in the past, and I have by and large supported assistance to Egypt. I raised some questions back during the Morsi government, but the fact is we need to do what we can to help promote stability in Egypt, and I think providing assistance is an important piece to that.
Do you support linking assistance to reforms, or they should be separate?
Well, I've looked at this separately because I think the security component of this has been very important, and the Egyptian reforms are going to operate on a different timeline than the broader security concerns.
When you talk about security, what kind of security do you mean? Is it are you worried about the Egyptian neighbors, or are you worried about security in general regarding U.S. national interest as well?
Well, it's certainly national interest for the U.S., but dealing with terrorism in the region, the problems we've seen in the Sinai Peninsula, all around Egypt, there's instability. Whether it's the situation now in Libya, which seems to be degenerating, concerns in Algeria, the Sahelian region of Africa. Things are very unstable right now. And so it's in U.S. national interest to have a stable government in Egypt, and a government that's reform-minded. But the stability has to be the top concern.
All the numbers are showing today that Sisi is going to win the elections. Do you think he is a good partner for the U.S.?
Well, we're not clear yet on what Sisi is planning with regard to reforms. I think the record with the Egyptian military has been reasonably clear, and our track record with the military has been clear with regard to security. We've got good mill-mill relationships. But I think where Sisi takes the country in terms of reforms is not very clear based on his public statements. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. He will win the election. All indications seem to be that's the case. The turnout may be very, very low in many areas because I think the Egyptian people have been through several elections, referenda, and they are fatigued. They have not seen reforms, and I'm sure highly skeptical as to what's coming next. But I think the responsibility will fall on Sisi's shoulders now to chart a path forward for reforms, and I hope he does. And I hope it doesn't lapse into just a simple military-run government. I know he's now taken on civilian status, but his ties clearly are with the military. And so will this follow in the same pathway as the Mubarak government or military governments before that is something that remains to be seen. It's my hope that he will be firm on security, but at the same time be reform-minded and hopefully move Egypt in that direction.
How concerned are you about terrorism in the region, specifically with the presence of a lot of terrorists right now in Syria and in the region? Are you concerned about Egypt and the region in general?
I am. Clearly, we're all watching this horrible situation in Syria, which is a complex civil war with a number of terrorist groups who are involved in this on both sides. And then you have the surrounding areas with instability. Of course, Syria is affecting Lebanon, Jordan, Turkey, and then of course North Africa. There are issues with Libya, as I mentioned earlier, and the sub-Saharan area where we're seeing increasing instability. I'm very concerned about this. Some of these areas are breeding grounds for international terrorists. Some are more regional-based terrorists. We are very concerned about these developments. This is a general increase in instability, which then increases the potential for other countries to get involved, whether it's Iran, the Saudis, the Gulf states, and we don't know where that could lead. And so I have concerns about it, and I have deep concerns about stability in Lebanon right now.
Thank you so much, Congressman, for your time. Thank you.
I appreciate it very much.